Good morning, everyone. My name is Priscilla Petrus Dolinting. I'm going to present my study on the mediation effect of knowledge cognition and regulation cognition on mathematics classroom climate and students' achievement. These are my presentation outlines. I will start with introduction, problem statement, method, measurement, data analysis, result and discussion, and the final one is conclusion. Improving students' mathematics achievement has been and continues to become a major educational goal. In a school setting, the most common evidence of student acquisition in mathematics skills is their mathematics grade and achievement. But other indicators of learning outcomes include active involvement in class activities, improved learning strategies, changes in study habits, and increased motivation, according to KUB 2021. These learning outcomes are affected by many factors, and there have been numerous studies reported the role of classroom climate quality, according to Reynolds et al. 2017, Rias and Assad 2018, and mathematics awareness, according to Core 2018, Langdon et al. 2019, are considered as crucial influencing factor. There is no denial of the fact that disparities between urban and rural schools regarding quality education and performance in public examination are widening at an alarming rate, especially in developing countries. In Malaysian context, mathematics has been a critical subject in certain locations, especially in rural schools. Statistical evidence also show that there is a significant difference of the team's mathematics achievement among urban and rural schools in Malaysia, as we can see in Table 1. So, considerable studies have shown that good quality of classroom climate and higher level of knowledge cognition and regulation cognition in mathematics learning are associated with higher achievement. But to date, only few studies have reported the interaction effect of the three variables, that is classroom climate, metacognition awareness in terms of knowledge of cognition and regulation cognition, as well as students' mathematics achievement in Malaysian education. So, the current study aimed to examine the psychosocial features of the classroom climate in terms of students' cohesiveness, teacher support, involvement, investigation, task orientation, cooperation, and equity, and their relation to students' knowledge of cognition and regulation cognition towards learning and achievement, especially in terms of the mediation analysis. There are three instruments that have been used in this study, namely what is happening in this class by Fraser et al. 1996. The second one is Metacognition Awareness Inventory by Shaw and Dennison in 1994. And the third one is Mathematics Achievement Test, which is developed by the researcher itself. The English version of the what is happening in this class and Metacognition Awareness Inventory were translated into Malay language by the researcher and back translated to English by an English teacher. To ensure the validity of the translation, then the back translations were checked by a language expert. The population of this study were Form 4 students of all rural secondary schools in Sabah, Malaysia, with a total number of 1,319. And the study was conducted in 5 divisions in Sabah, Malaysia, which are Interior Division, Kudat Division, Sandakan Division, Tawau Divisions, and West Coast Division. This study employed a survey design to investigate the mediation effects of knowledge of cognition and regulation cognition on relationship between classroom climate and student mathematics achievement in the context of rural secondary schools in Sabah, Malaysia. Students' perception of their mathematics learning experiences in classroom were measured using what's happening in this class, a multi-dimensional scale which consisted of 7 subscales, which are student cohesiveness, teacher support, involvement, investigation, task orientation, cooperation, and equity. While student knowledge of cognition and regulation of cognition were measured using the Metacognition Awareness Inventory. The Metacognition Awareness Inventory consists of 52 items, 70 items addressing knowledge of cognition, includes 8 items on declarative knowledge, 4 items on procedural knowledge, 5 items on conditional knowledge, meanwhile 35 items addressing the regulation cognition includes 7 items on planning, 10 items on information management strategies, 7 items on comprehension monitoring, 5 items on debugging strategies, and the last one, 6 items on evaluation. The students' mathematics achievement test was the students' mathematics achievement was evaluated based on the total score obtained from a mathematics achievement test developed by the researcher. Six topics in this test was standard form, quadratic expression and equation, set, logical, mathematical, straight lines, and statistics were tested via 8 items multiple choice questions and 5 items subjective questions. Data analysis was based on the SEM approach to test the proposed hypothesis. The Smart PLS program version 3.2.8 was utilized to run the data analysis. As mentioned earlier, the current study hypothesizes 2 mediators in a model study. The researcher estimated specific indirect effect instead of total indirect effect as suggested by Memon et al. 2018. A statistically significant indirect effect, t-value more than 1.96 to tell p-values less than 0.05 are evidence for mediation according to Petrus and Hayes 2004. So, in terms of construct internal consistency reliability, the reliability and convergent validity of the construct is evaluated by analyzing the Crobat alpha and composite reliability of the indicator. Hay et al. 2019 recommends a value of greater than 0.708 as a threshold value for this indicator. Loadings above 0.708 indicate that the construct explains more than 50% of the indicator's variance, demonstrating that the indicator exhibits a satisfactory degree of reliability. In this study, the Crobat alpha scores range between 0.902 and 0.947. While the composite reliability score ranged between 0.902 and 0.947, indicating adequate convergent or internal consistency. Overall, these results provide clear support for the construct's internal consistency reliability, as all criteria such as composite reliability, Rho A and Crobat alpha are well above the commonly recommended threshold of 0.708. As we can see, this is the measurement model result by using Smart PLS. A statistically significant indirect effect such as t-value more than 1.96 to tell p-value less than 0.05 are evidence for mediation according to Preacher and Hayes 2004. But in addition, an assessment of the confidence interval is also an important criterion to confirm the mediation effect. According to Memon et al. 2018, if a confidence interval for the specific indirect effect does not straddle a zero in between, this supports the presence of mediation effects and vice versa. By looking at this table, knowledge of cognition significantly mediated the relationship between investigation, which denoted by PS, task orientation or T, equity KS, and student mathematics achievement at the p-value less than 0.05 level and supported by the BCA confidence interval for the indirect effect does not straddle a zero in between. By looking at regulation cognition as a mediator, regulation cognition significantly mediated the relationship between student cohesiveness, denoted by KP, investigation, denoted by PS, equity, denoted by KS, and student mathematics achievement at the p-value less than 0.05 level and supported by the BCA confidence interval for the indirect effect does not straddle a zero in between. So, the conclusion of the study is this finding rejects H01D, H01E, H01G, H02A, H02D, and H02G. So, for result and discussion, in line with previous finding, such as Cheng and Wan 2017, Nurul Huda and Saima 2017, through knowledge of cognition, classroom climate that encourages investigation, task orientation, and equity enhance students' mathematics achievement significantly. While regulation cognition mediated the effect of classroom climate components such as student cohesiveness, investigation, and equity on students' mathematics achievement. This suggests that students with a high perception of close relationship with classmates do more inquiry, have equal learning opportunity with other students in the classroom, are likely to plan, manage information, monitor their comprehension, use debugging strategies, and evaluate their understandings, which in turn leads to improved mathematics achievement. This result echo our expectation as well as previous findings from Zhou et al. 2021 and Nurul Huda and Saema 2017, which indicated that students' regulation cognition is positively linked to their reports of closeness with their classmates and the emphasis of inquiry activities in the classroom. This result implied that metacognitive aspects in terms of knowledge of cognition and regulation cognition to be a prerequisite for effective learning and is believed to directly contribute to an increase in student achievement. These findings indicated a significant indirect effect between components of classroom climate such as student cohesiveness, task orientation, investigation and equity, and student mathematics achievement through knowledge of cognition and regulation of cognition. So, in conclusion, it is suggested that schools should endeavor to create a positive classroom climate which emphasizes student cohesiveness, task orientation, investigation, and equity to support students' knowledge of cognition and regulation cognition in order to improve students' mathematics achievement. The result of this study will add value to existing literature on the relationship between perceived classroom climate on student achievement, particularly on issues related to learning outcomes such as knowledge of cognition and regulation cognition. With that, this is the end of my presentation. Thank you.